How does a piano make music? Hi, welcome to Curious Kids Every Day. I'm Josh. How are you doing today? It's so good to hear from you. Hey, do you know what this sound is? Yep, that's a piano. Pianos make some of the most beautiful music in the whole world. Have you ever wondered how they do it? Why does pressing those little keys create such an amazing sound? Have you ever lifted the lid on a piano and looked inside? It looks pretty complicated in there, doesn't it? Inside a piano, you'll see rows and rows of long, thin strings stretched tight across a big wooden frame. You'll also see lots of small wooden pieces that look a bit like tiny hammers, all packed together really closely. How does it all work? Do you want to learn about it today? Let's explore how pianos make music. When you press a piano key, you're not making sound directly. Instead, you're starting a chain reaction. Pressing the key lifts a small wooden hammer inside the piano. That hammer moves very fast and strikes a metal string. That string is pulled tight, kind of like a rubber band. When the hammer hits the string starts to vibrate. Vibration means it shakes back and forth really quickly. Those vibrations push on the air around them, and that moving air is what you hear as sound. Different keys make different sounds because they hit different strings. Low notes come from long, thick strings, and high notes come from short, thin strings. That's why the strings on one side of the piano are much longer than the ones on the other side. Most piano keys actually hit more than one string at the same time. That helps make the sound fuller and richer. But here's something important. The strings themselves are actually pretty quiet. If you plucked one by itself, you wouldn't hear much. That's where the piano's big wooden body comes in. See, inside the piano is a large wooden piece called the soundboard. When the strings vibrate, those vibrations travel into the soundboard. The soundboard vibrates too, but on a much bigger scale. That makes the sound louder and it helps fill the room. That's also why pianos are made mostly out of wood. The same reason that guitars are made out of wood. Wood is very good at carrying vibrations and turning them into warm, pleasant sounds. In a lot of ways, pianos and guitars are actually very similar instruments. They both use vibrating strings to make their sound. Now, have you ever wondered why a piano can be loud and also quiet? That depends on how hard you press the keys. Pressing gently makes the hammer hit the string softly, but pressing harder makes the hammer hit the string with more force. Now, have you ever noticed at the bottom of a piano, it has those pedals down there? You ever seen those? The most common one is called the sustain pedal. Now, have you ever pressed that one down and noticed how the strings vibrate longer? The sound is just much more full. The notes seem to ring and blend together when that pedal is down. See, inside a piano, each string has a soft piece of felt touching it. This felt is called a damper. The damper's job is to stop the string from vibrating. When you press a piano key, the damper for that string lifts up. It gets out of the way. That way, the string can vibrate and make sound. But as soon as you let go of the key, the damper falls back onto the string and stops the vibration. That's why the note stops. So here's what a sustain pedal does. When you press the sustain pedal with your foot, it lifts all the dampers off all the strings at the same time. That means even when you let go of the keys, the dampers don't fall back down. Because the dampers are lifted, the strings are free to keep vibrating longer. That makes the notes last longer, or sustain. It also lets different notes ring together, which is why the sound feels fuller and more blended. There's also another cool thing that happens. When the pedal is down, strings you didn't even hit can start vibrating a little bit on their own. This is called sympathetic vibration. The sound from one string makes nearby strings shake just a little bit, adding extra richness to the sound. So every time you hear a piano, you're really hearing the sound of tiny hammers hitting strings, and those strings vibrating, and a giant wooden soundboard helping all of that sound travel through the air to your ears. That is how a piano makes music. Pretty amazing, huh? Okay, let's have a quick quiz. What hits the strings when you press a piano key? A small wooden hammer. And what do vibrating strings push on to create sound? That would be the air. And what part of the piano helps make the sound louder? We call it the soundboard. Let's play true or false. True or false? Pressing a piano key pulls a string with your finger. False. Pressing the key makes a hammer hit a string. True or false? Longer strings usually make lower sounds. Yep, that's true. True or false? Pressing a key harder makes the note louder. Yep, that's true too. One more. True or false? The soundboard is made to stop vibrations. Nope, that's false. The soundboard amplifies the sound. The damper stops the vibrations. Would you rather play a piano that's as big as a house or one that is small enough to fit into your backpack? Ooh, interesting. I've seen pianos that are that small before, but I've never seen one as big as a house, and I think that that would be amazing to listen to. What do you think it would sound like? Okay, I've got a couple of rounds of What Am I? Are you ready? What am I? You press me with your fingers. I can be black or white. And I start a chain reaction. What am I? I am a piano key. All right, one more. What am I? You press me with your foot. I make notes last longer. And I sustain sound. What am I? A piano pedal. I could listen to the piano all day. I just love the way it sounds. And now we know how it works too. It's a little more complicated than just hitting a key to make a sound. There's a whole chain reaction that you're controlling when you hit the piano key. Oh, I've got an idea. Instead of the usual music we use for the end of the show, let's use this song today instead. Would that be okay with you? I just love the way it sounds so much. What kind of question do you think we'll ask tomorrow on Curious Kids Every Day? I can't wait to find out, so until then, keep asking questions and stay curious, kids. And we've got a couple of birthdays today, international birthdays too. Ryan from Australia is turning 6. Happy birthday, Ryan! And Eugene is all the way in China, and Eugene is turning 7. Happy birthday, Eugene! For all the grown-ups listening, if your curious kid wants their birthday mentioned on the show, please visit supportcuriouskids.com and join the Curious Kids Club. That's supportcuriouskids.com. See you tomorrow!